That I second the motion for the member for Warringah, member for Wentworth, and thank you for advocacy. But really, I wish we were not needing to put such a motion forward, because better progress, more progress from the government is desperately needed in this issue. In Warringah, more than 450 domestic and family violence assaults were reported in the last year. And when talking to our local police, they will say domestic and family violence is the #1 issue for which they are called out. Nationally, the picture is simply devastating, and whilst we have the Status for Women report card identifying 37 women killed in 2024, it's unfortunately other metrics will often say that the number is even greater, as high as Australian Femicide Watch puts the number as high as 103 and 16 children killed. So even the fact that we have such a disparity of numbers is just frightening and highlights the level of crisis this is. But what we do know already in 2025, there is, on some counts, 48 women killed already. On average, 1 woman every 9 days is killed by a current or former partner. Now, if that is not a national crisis, I don't know what qualifies as one. It is an absolute tragedy and more needs to be done. It's not good enough to just say we are the government that has put a record amount of money out there and that we have a national plan over this decade to eradicate domestic and family violence. Unfortunately, it is not working. It's not moving the dial yet. In May last year, I brought a motion to this chamber calling for stronger action. Since then, the government has announced, sure, $4.7 billion over 5 years for frontline services in partnership with the states. These are welcome commitments, but the reality is they are not shifting the dial. 94% of New South Wales services report increased demand. 2 months average wait for critical support for women and children needing to access those critical services. And for a woman in danger, 2 months wait is far too long. In Warringah, and this problem is a scourge everywhere, we're fortunate to have incredible local services. Northern Beaches Women's Shelter, Mary's House, Women and Children First, Women's Resilience Centre, all are manned by so many incredible volunteers doing amazing work. They provide crisis accommodation and wraparound support, but they are chronically underfunded and overstretched. Long wait lists means women and children are left at risk at the most dangerous moment when they are trying to leave. Now, we are 1 year on from the rapid review. If you cast your mind back, in May last year, obviously the numbers of women killed was becoming so, it's reaching crisis point. There was a lot of pressure. The government announced a rapid review to try and move the dial. They brought together experts, they called it a national emergency, and there were key recommendations that came out of that rapid review report. And unfortunately, some key recommendations remain unaddressed. The government is still sitting on its hands because it doesn't want to tackle these hard decisions. It means tighter restrictions on alcohol sales, delivery times and advertising. It does mean banning gambling advertising. We know we have been trying to push the government to move on this, and it is linked around so many issues, but it is linked also to domestic and family violence. We know the combination of alcohol and gambling fuels domestic violence incidents. The evidence is clear. There's no point on saying you're doing the right thing if you don't tackle these two massive areas. We know alcohol was involved in 20% of domestic homicides. During major sporting events like State of Origin, family violence reports spiked by up to 40%. In New South Wales, the extension in takeaway alcohol sales by 1 hour led to 1,100 additional domestic violence assaults in the preceding 38 months. The data is there. The government just needs to act. The member for Wentworth has raised a question around eligibility for the family violence crisis payment. Far too narrow. Too many. The complications of being able to apply for it is difficult and needs to be changed. We also have that system weaponisation, where for too often the system there makes it even harder for women trying to get support. We know we see this through childcare, child support payments, and where we have that link between the income tests and how recovery attempts. There are so many areas in which we have systems abuse that is facilitated for perpetrators, and so where we really have to rethink that model. But urgently, we are now, some time on, I urge the government to implement all the recommendations of the review.